Alright, my opponent is Mix. I don't think I've ever gone up against Mix before. This is Travis. Welcome to Tpull's Corner. It's the month of June, which means it's Evergreen month. And that means we have made a deck that focuses on one particular trait above all else. Double Strike. Both first strike and regular combat damage. Wizards has changed the way that they've dealt with first strike. Not with first strike so much, mostly double strike. They seem to have decided that it's too powerful, and their redesigns are kind of lessening its permanent presence in the game. So here, for example, we have Falaji Chain Dancer. It gains double strike, but they, instead of making it a permanent cost, they make you have to pay 2 each turn for it. That's a little bit of a change. There's some other traits, Evergreen keywords, that Wizards also seems to have decided are a little bit complicated for them. One we already did, it was Indestructible. Instead of just having creatures with Indestructible all the time, those are also conditions a lot. They become more impermanent. And our opponent acts like they also have blue. They're stopping to think every single second. Maybe they're new. Maybe they're just now reading these cards. Or maybe they've got an instant that can destroy one of them, and they're just trying to figure out what to do. I'd say on the spectrum, Wizards has had the most hesitance about Hexproof, and then Indestructible, and then I think maybe Double Strike's next on the list. And we can sort of tell this over the years. If you've played the game, say, from the start, or even if you just done it for the last 3 years, you can sort of tell what they've been doing. There's been a noticeable change. And they have some sort of tactic that enables them to increase their power, at least temporarily. So we're not going to throw our creatures into that attack. But now we have the Chain Dancer, we can give it double strike. That might change things. It'll be interesting to see in the next couple of expansions how these sort of upper tier Evergreen mechanics are treated. If it's just a continuation of the last couple of expansions with the way they treat Hexproof and Indestructible and Double Strike, or if they're going to tweak them even further. We'll find out. It should be easy to detect in the presence, you know, sort of the, you might call it the as fan, as they say sometimes, of those mechanics. Or in the casting cost of them. In this case, in the case of Falaji Chain Dancer, the presence of an activated cost. Where before, we really wouldn't have had a card that had that on it. It wouldn't have been designed that way. Our opponent really seems to be... I was going to say stuck, but let's say uncertain. Let's get rid of the Ozolith. We will attack with the Chain Dancer only, but we wait to activate the power. They just take it. I'm fine with not having activated it this time. We're just kind of filling them out and seeing what they can do. It's a counter deck, which those can pop off pretty fast. I'm a fan of Enduring Bond Warden. I've had that as a centerpiece in one of my decks before. Okay, so it's afraid of the Chain Dancer. So one of the other spells probably... Oh, they've got two of those. Wow. They're pulling out all the stops right now. I guess they're still trying to figure out the choice. It's not that the game is frozen. Do not adjust your set. We're fine. We use this pause to remind people to like and subscribe. We have had a couple of new subscribers lately, so welcome. Welcome to the Tpull's Corner. They really can't decide between these two. I've used Ash Party Crasher before. This is really the first time I've used Mirror Shield Hoplite, so I kind of want him to stick around so I can benefit from his ability. Whenever a creature you control becomes a target of a backup ability, copy that ability and choose new targets if you like. Nope, that's the one they take. I think it's time for us to go ahead and... well, maybe we'll just give Double Strike to Ash. Let's do that. We'll use the backup. Make it 3/3. Now it's 3/3 Double Strike. They're tapped out. They could they could have jumped walked with the Bond Warden and put that counter on the Trumpeter, and then it would have become a 4/4 by its own issues. But now they have a way to punch that up right there. I could untap. They don't have trample. So that's just to trade creatures. I'm okay with that. Yeah, we're just going to attack with our 3/3 then. What are we going to do here? They're going to take it. I'm not going to do anything then. I'm just going to wait. We have 3 different things we can do. They're keeping pace with me on the land, but I actually have another channel land with Sukinzan, so I can create 2 creature tokens. That's why I'm holding on to it instead of playing it. I've got a legendary land already, the same one, so it would just replace itself. They're going to create 2 tokens, so there's some 4/4s. And they added those. I think we get rid of the 4/5 now. They just put the counters on something else, but if they're not careful, if they decide to attack with both, we might be okay. Let's see, what do I want to do here? They turned that into an 8/8, didn't they? Okay, we'll stick this down for now. Pass the turn. Might have to create some chump blockers here. 3rd creature. They're attacking with both. Interesting. I'm not going to block any of that, actually. They don't have vigilance. They don't have any spells. So we're just going to attack with everybody. That does... I don't even have to cast a spell. That's lethal, right? What are they thinking? But I was going to be able to give another creature double strike so that whatever they didn't block... I expected them to block the toughest one. Maybe they just gave up. Alright. Let's go in. It's called Double My Strikes. as I said, it's the month of June. I do this every year. The month of June is Evergreen month. We take a particular Evergreen mechanic and we overemphasize it in the deck. And that means that it's going to be a creature-heavy deck usually compared to what I usually do. So 26 creatures, 25 lands, ended up with 61 cards. We've got 2 Rustler's Rampage, and this is kind of, I'm varying up where I may have done before, because there are a couple different ways to do this. You can either have creatures that have double strike, or you have spells that can give a creature double strike. I've kind of tried to find a good mix of both in here. So Rustler's Rampage is from the new expansion, Outlaws of Thunder Junction. It costs 1 base white mana just to cast. In the first place, to have an effect, you need to add another mana. You can untap all target creatures, or all creatures target player controls. That's usually yourself. And then target creature gains double strike until end of turn. It's a pretty good battle tactic. We've got a Disenchant to take care of pesky artifacts or enchantments. For removal, we've got 2 copies of Fierce Retribution and 1 copy of Sacred Fire that we can flash back for possibly a 4th way. And I have 1 copy of Heirloom Battle Rhythm that hopefully I can kick to actually gain me a little bit of life as well. I don't have a lot of gain life in here, but you know, that's what I got. I do have 1 final interaction in the form of Get Lost that gets rid of creature, enchantment, or planeswalker. And then I have 1 more Sanctify that I can also use against artifacts or enchantments again. Okay, we've got Picnic Ruiner. I don't have any green, so we're ignoring the sorcery still in goodies. We're looking only at the right side of the creature itself as a 2/2. If you control a creature with power 4 or greater, Picnic Ruiner gains double strike until end of turn. So another thing where it doesn't always have it, there's a condition that you have to meet first. I don't have all creatures with double strike because I've got some spells that will give them double strike. So I have Ash Party Crasher. If 2 or more non-land permanents enter the battlefield this turn, you get to put a +1/+1 counter on Ash. Mirror Hoplite. I covered this during the last match. When he becomes a target of a backup, you copy the ability. So our big backup is here, this 1 card, Fearless Scald. You can bring it in as a 3/2 and put the backup counter on it. That's usually what I like to do. Make it a 4/3 double striker. If we get through untapped or unblocked, that's 8 damage. But you can stick that counter on another creature. Now, if you have Mirror Shield Hoplite out, it doesn't matter whether you stick this on another creature or Scald. The fact is your either creature is still a target of a backup ability. So just by the fact of Fearless Guard coming down while the Hoplite's on the field, you're automatically going to be able to copy that ability. So you could apply it to Scald and then still have a chance to put it on somebody else as well. So this just gives us a potential combo to give double strike in more than 1 place whenever we feel like. We have Careless Command. We get to choose 2 copies, or 2 choices. We can create a 2/2 colorless creature token, put a 1/1 counter, and it gains double strike until end of turn, so I fit it in there. Or you can just gain 2 life, scry 2, or find a basic plains card. We have 4 copies of Scuttling Butler. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if you control 2 or more multicolored permanents, the Butler gains double strike until end of turn. Again, 8 damage. So that's pretty cool. And this is why I drifted towards the gold cards. Since I'm in red and white, I chose red and white cards. That's why we have Ash and why I looked at Mirror Shield Hoplite. I think that we've got some synergy there. And I like the synergy between Scald and Hoplite. So they don't all necessarily mesh with each other, but a couple, might chain to one, and they might chain to another, that kind of thing. There's lots of little connections like that in the deck, where, I wouldn't expect Scald necessarily to have any effect on the Butler, but there is some relationship. It's just like a dotted line. There's a path there. Elish Norn, 3/5 with Vigilance. If we sacrifice 3 other creatures, we get to make the Argent Etchings you see to the right. And on second chapter there, creatures you control gain +1/+1 and gain double strike until end of turn. Philology Chain Dancer, of course, just 1 copy. We can give that double strike. Just having a 4/4 double strike on the board is kind of a powerful card. So it's not the worst. I mean, in the old days, I think we would have just paid 4 and we would have had a 2/4 double striker. So this, I think, is emblematic of the chains. It's not common. But they've made this activated charge that you have to keep 2 spare mana to have that option every single turn. I think they're de-emphasizing double strike in the game because they think it's such a powerful effect. Argus cost, Spirit of Justice, Legendary Spirit detected, 2/4 with double strike and vigilance. When it enters or attacks, choose up to one target creature. If suspected, exile it, otherwise suspect it. So we're hoping to keep this on board for a couple of turns. We could suspect something, probably an opponent's creature when it first comes down. The next turn, if we get a chance to attack, we just exile it. So that's kind of nice. Two-Headed Hunter. The instant twice the rage to the left only costs 2. Target creature gains double strike until end of turn. After that, if we can afford it, we can bring it down as a 5/4 menace. And the 5/4 menace will satisfy Picnic Ruiner and give Picnic Ruiner double strike. So we could give Picnic Ruiner double strike with the spell, and then bring down the giant and still give it double strike. Meddling Use. I don't know if this is a note to Scooby-Doo or what, but it was from the detective, right, from Karlov Manor, so I think it is. Whenever you attack with 3 or more creatures, investigate. It's a 4/5 with haste. It's a gold card that'll help set off the requirements for Scuttling Butler. Quintorius Loremaster, Legendary Elephant Cleric. I think we originally came across this puppy in Strixhaven, right? 3/5 with Vigilance. At the beginning of your end step, exile target non-creature non-land card from your graveyard. You get a 3/2 red and white spirit creature token. Then, if we have the chance, so we can't do it the turn he comes in because you have to tap, and he has Summoning Sickness. He doesn't have haste here, so we would need a turn for him to survive. You choose target card exiled with Quintorius. You may cast that card this turn without paying its mana cost. So that's kind of cool. And finally, Ragefire Hellkite. Whenever the Hellkite attacks, you may sacrifice another creature. If you do, Hellkite gains double strike until end of turn. And we do have 2 copies of Restless Bivouac, so we do have a couple other creatures that we can throw onto there. And we have 3 of the Sekenzans. So that's it. Let's see how many times we can double our strikes. As I said, in the old days, I would have just found a bunch of creatures that had double strike, or there was a good Strixhaven card, Cleric, that gave everybody double strike. Stuff like that. In this case, I just wanted to mix it up a little bit, do something a little different every year. So here we're concentrating about half the time on actually just giving something, satisfying some condition and giving something double strike rather than it always having it. Okay, we don't really have a 2-drop, so we're okay with dropping that stuff. Let's try for the Scuttling Butler. If they don't have counter spells, just getting a 4/1 down against blue and green is a good start because green typically has the more powerful creatures. Fairy Mastermind, okay. We try for another creature. We wait because they're blue. They might have another Mastermind. Let me hold back for a change. Normally I would just go ahead and say, yeah, let's go ahead and make the exchange. Here it doesn't matter if I'm attacking or not, whether I was going to attack or not. I think that's what they were going to do no matter what. I don't have a second multicolored permanent yet. They already got a 6/5 out. It's disgusting. If I don't put out the Scurrying Butler, they're going to be suspicious, but I don't quite care. I want to use Fierce Retribution on the Rattleworm. They might be able to save it with their own Fading Hope. I don't think I have much of a choice. No blocks. Let's see if that does anything. Counter the spell. Okay. And just like that, we're in trouble. They didn't even use all their energy. Remember, they have blue. You have to be extra patient with them. They've got to think about what they want to do. I think we just put this down. We're going to use this there, and we get it there thanks to the hoplite. This has vigilance, so we can attack as a 6 points of damage. Not a bad turn. Doesn't have double strike anymore, only the Scald does. But we're not casting a spell. Let's see what we can do here. They probably have something. They didn't cast a single spell beforehand. Okay, so they got counter spells, they got bounce spells, they got things they can do to change that. I'm down to 4. With not much else left to do, they've got a full hand of cards still, and they're outdrawing me on land. And they've just had everything they need. One bounce spell is all they need to kill me. They're looking, yep. One big green creature and the rest blue support. We're dead. Didn't quite get as much land draw as I thought to try and get more stuff down. I sort of need the chance to cast 2 spells at once to catch up with that. But I don't think I had much recourse. They had the lands, and they had the counter spells, they had the bounce spells, they had the change spells. I was pretty helpless in that match. That's what happens when you win your first match. Arena gets its revenge pretty soon thereafter. That's a lot of cards. 100 cards? We start with the Mu Shield Hoplite. Four colors so far. That's a disgusting card. I'm willing to trade, they are not. We bring down Argus costs. We make it suspect. Our intention is to attack next turn and just exile that little irritant. Mycosynth Gardens. I kind of like the way that turned out. All we do is attack. We exile that target. It's got suspect on it. Suspect becomes exiled. They're not going to bother blocking anything. And we bring down Picnic Ruiner. We are at risk of a board wipe. They're going to draw and discard and create... Oh, it's a Simulacrum Synthesizer. Okay. Then one of those type of decks. These can get us pretty good. Okay, so the question is, what? I was gonna say, can I finish them off beforehand? Before they get all those artifacts down. They did not like what they were digging for. They did not have a good hand. Not for what they were trying to do. We find our tap land since we don't have anything until turn 2. Return a creature to their hand. Those can ruin your whole day. Sometimes these decks are the worst. They get like a shield rid out and you kill it and then they just bring it right back. Exile a card from my hand. I guess we're getting rid of the one that costs the most. Alright, let's try Scuttling Butler. We get double strike because the Butler's down. Butler is 4 or more. Remember I told you there would be some synergies there. We've got a nice little tangled path among our different creatures that allows me to meet various scenarios. Really? You gonna attack with a 1/1? Okay, if they have no skeletons, they could search the library for a card. What do we want to do? I think we're just gonna attack with our double striker. They take it. 4 points of damage. I'm kind of surprised they didn't chump block with the agent. They could bring it back right away and make me exile another card in my hand. I think I just let this through, right? Because I don't want them to search for a card, so... Yeah, come hit me. You can keep that skeleton on board the entire match. I'm fine with that. Another Picnic Ruiner. I love it. Attack with 2 creatures this time. There you go. Got him down to 10. Aha. Board wipe o'clock. Okay. Right on time. Let's go ahead and give us a creature, and I don't think I need a plains. Let's just gain 2 life and scry 2. I'm going to give up the land for now. Let's see if we can gain any ground or not. Death Touch and Death Touch. Okay. And they're probably going to bring a creature back? Yeah? No, they're going to search for something now. This Fierce Retribution may be a dead card. They may get it out of my hand before I can use it. Oh, look, it's Sheldred. Now they can just be lazy and wait. That's a fun card. Wow. Well, I guess it doesn't matter. They can just bring it back, right? With the Skull Bomb. We were mentioning that earlier. Let's bring down something so they think that we're not giving up entirely. They should want to attack with Shadow of Mortality right away. Yippers. I don't have a whole lot of interaction left, though, so I'm not sure what we're going to do about Shieldred. I'm still not drawing any more land. Okay, there's one finally. We can bring you down. But I'm out of ammo. They're overmatching me on land, and they still have spells. So we got trouble coming our way. Do you have enough? You don't have removal too, do you? They do. Ouch. That's actually not a bad thing to do. I would give up all my creatures. They have to know that. Then they'd have a clear hit on 3 other creatures to come my way. But as usual, Black gets lazy once they have Shieldred. They just want to wait me out. And I don't have a board wipe, so I think we're dead. I have to sacrifice a 1/1. Yeah, this doesn't necessarily help me. I mean, I've got a 3/3 double striker. They can actually just take that damage entirely. It's not going to hurt them the slightest. So they lose their Skull Dweller. I still lose 2 life off of that. And again, they don't even have to attack. They just need to let Shieldred take its turn. Those cards were not helpful at this point in time. So we got rid of Shieldred once. We got rid of a 7/7. But since I could just bring the Shieldred right back, there are limits to what this particular deck can do. We have the Meddling Youth again. Standard deck size. We just have to wait for them to decide if they're going to mulligan or not, and then we let Tiny Bones put himself together. I think we just get rid of this now. We can't kick it, but the poison plus proliferate can kill us pretty fast, so... I don't think we need to worry about that for us. So let's get a 2/2, and we'll go get our other planes now, so that we can cast a 5-drop next turn if we deem it necessary. I don't think I have anything that gets into my graveyard. I think that's fine. They use ossification on a 2/2. That gets their poison started. So it's a good thing that I have untapped land, because I definitely want to put something out. Usually I want to be able to attack with that right away, but I'm on defensive against poison. And they have the perfect balance of what they need. I think I just passed with that. We'll just discard Sekenzan. And get rid of the rat. Assuming they don't have an instant, and they don't. Still getting too much poison. Let's put both of these down. If they have removal, we still got one creature left. Also, since they didn't get rid of meddling use, Scuttling Butler has Double Strike. It has to be my turn, though. 6 poison counters. Here's where we have some fun. Those two both attack. That's 16 points of damage if they don't block. They block both. Seven poison counters. Hopefully they don't have a board wipe, although typically this type of deck has Sunfalls. They're looking at them individually as if they have only single removal. Or, oh no, they have Blast Zone. What do we got on there? 3, 3, 2, 5, and 2. I've got a nice little variety here. They can't get rid of the 2s. They could just settle for getting rid of the Scuttling Butler. Is that enough for them? Since Meddling Use is still on the board, Picnic Ruiner is going to get Double Strike. Ah, they freeze it instead. Okay. You can still get rid of Scuttling Butler, yes? You can't... No, they can't. So I can get rid of their Blast Zone with my Filler Rune. Yeah, I think they're in trouble. That means all 3 of my creatures have all the conditions met. This one has double strike always, no matter what. So I've got everybody's going to have double strike. They can chump block with Soulless Jailer. This is why I don't use a lot of these paralyzation stuff. Cards like Shieldred and ways that I have the deck arranged like this. You're still leaving my creatures on the field. It still allows me to meet certain conditions. So I kind of always plan for coming up against things like this. I try and put some sneaky things in the deck that make sure that it doesn't stop me. Shieldred's just kind of a happy accident that works for everybody. So sometimes I'm kind of surprised to see this kind of tactic with Shieldred still so prominent in the environment. What would they return to their own hand? They could have returned ossification, right? Return another permanent you control to its owner's hand, yeah. They could have done that. Then they could have exiled something. Elish Norn's kind of a cool card. We attack! This is lethal damage right there. Let's see, 3, 4, 5. Oh, yeah, either. And it doesn't matter. Nothing matters. Nothing really matters anymore, you see. I know I'm a horrible singer. So we had tons of options here. We could have discovered, we could have drawn cards, we could have brought down Elish Norn, we could have used a Ganjo on something, we could have used the artifacts to draw stuff. We had a lot of margin here. They've only got 1 swamp. I don't know what that's going to be. Oh, they gave us an 8th poison counter. I'm not going to be able to get that out. I think I make that joke every other time I face a poison deck. On the new game, it all comes out. And Shayray of Numbing Depths. Alright. I think that's enough rounds. Everybody understands how the deck works, right? Alright, if you're new and you had any kind of question, if you saw First Strike and Double Strike kind of threw you off at all, hopefully that sort of showed you how the thing works. There were a couple of cards that didn't make an appearance. I wish we could have had a 2-headed hunter in there, but overall, pretty happy with how the deck turned out. I don't even think Ragefire Hellkite made an appearance. I don't even think I drew it once, did I? Maybe I drew it once, but I don't think I got to use it. But yeah, other than that, I think we cycled through pretty much everything else. Oh, we didn't get Quintorius. I wanted to play with Quintorius. I'm probably going to hold on to this deck if I can, just because I want to play with Quintorius a little bit as well. But I like the way the Mearshield Hoplite worked with Fearless Scald, so I'll probably look at that mechanic more because it's one I haven't used a whole lot of. But I like the synergy there. So that could be fun for a future deck, but that's not part of the Evergreen mechanics. So one thing that I will be doing in the future, though, before we get to the end of the month, instead of sticking with just one mechanic and overloading on one mechanic, I'm going to start to combine the mechanics and sort of evolve as the month goes on through and show you, okay, here's how well you can do with this particular mechanic when it makes up the bulk of your deck. And then when we start really combining them, I mean, here we didn't rule stuff out, right? We have Party Crasher had haste, the Hoplite has vigilance, Argus also has vigilance, that type of thing. We got flying in there. We've got Elish Norn has vigilance. I did some of those early ones first. So we did a vigilance deck already. I don't think do I need to do a haste deck this year? Haste is so self-explanatory, so is flying. I don't know. We'll see how I feel. But this is just sort of incidental to my other plans as far as Double Strike. What I will be doing in the future, for example, like I have an idea for a Double Strike Menace deck. And that should be kind of fun. I've already done the Menace deck. This is the Double Strike deck. What happens when we combine those two mechanics together? what kind of deck do we end up with then? So, stuff for you to look forward to. As always, we invite your comments. We ask you to like and subscribe, and we'll catch you all next time. Thanks, everybody. Have a good one.